I call the order of the meeting of the Verona Common Council for Monday, March 9th, 2026 at 7 p.m. We'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll have the roll.
Helmke.
Here.
Weiss. Here. Lytle. Here. Tucker Long.
Here.
Keller.
Here.
Swanson. Here. Oaks.
Present.
Harrison.
Hey.
All present, Mr. Mayor.
All right. That's all 8. So we can proceed with the agenda. We will move on to item 4, which is public comment. If any members of the public wish to speak, now would be the time to do so. Seeing no one approaching the microphone, we'll move on to item 5, which is approval of the minutes from the February 23rd, 2026 Common Council meeting. Questions, comments, or motions to approve? Alder Hoke.
I make a motion to approve the minutes from the February 23rd, 2026 council meeting.
Motion by Alder Humke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Harrison. Last chance for corrections. Seeing no corrections, all those in favor of approving the minutes from the February 23rd, 2026 Common Council meeting, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And the minutes are approved. We'll move on to item 6, which is mayor's business. I don't have anything for you tonight, so we will move on to item 7, which is announcements. Any announcements from the council? Alder Tucker Long.
I do have anniversary cards for everybody to sign, so I'll be passing those around in a little bit.
Thank you. Any other announcements? Seeing none, we will move on to item 8, which is the administrator's report. Mr. Aulick.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have just a few real quick. First, we received word from the Greater Madison MPO that we are okay to proceed with the Safe Routes to Schools grant, which in our case means a Safe Routes to Schools plan. And that's funded by the MPO at an 80-20 match. This is a little while ago, but with the budget, we have $30,000 of city money set aside for a $150,000 grant for that plan. After that plan is in place, we hope to leverage larger capital projects, also with federal money included, to make intersection upgrades and various, things that are associated with making sure that kids have safe routes to schools. So anyway, we got the go-ahead to proceed with the plan. Number 2, we have fire chief finalist interviews coming up here next week, Monday, literally a week from right now, on March 16th. There will be a public component to those interviews, and that will start 7:15 p.m. right here in the council chambers. Everyone is encouraged to attend. You're going to want to arrive a little bit early, probably around 7, so you can have time to submit questions ahead of time. We also will be taking questions at the meeting should anyone want to ask them from the floor, so to speak. It'll be around an hour-long session. It'll be 3 minutes per candidate. So the 3 candidates are going to get the same question and have 3 minutes to answer said question, and we'll rotate through. The candidates are Assistant Chief of Emergency Medical Services, Training, Education, and Wellness, David Hensley of the Milwaukee Fire Department. Also, Jim Klug, who is a fire chief with the Platte Valley Fire Protection District in Kersey, Colorado. And lastly, Jesse Colson, who is a fire chief in Spencer, Iowa. So those are the 3 candidates that are being, and there's a 4-part process here next week, Monday, that's going to be followed. But next week, Monday, we are doing the finalists, or interviewing the finalists for the fire chief candidate position. Lastly, there were 750 absentee ballots that were packaged up and mailed out today. So those are going out in the mail. Our admin team always does just a bang-up job, helping each other out. So The people who were taking taxes a month or two ago are now boxing up absentee ballots. They do just a great job working together. And don't forget, the first Tuesday in April is Election Day. Don't forget to vote. And absentee ballot requests are able to be made through the Thursday prior to Election Day. And you can, of course, come into City Hall and in-person absentee vote as well. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Alder Swanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mr. Olick, where can Verona residents look online to find more information about how to be involved in the fire chief selection process?
Great question. I mean, right now, the agenda and packet is posted out online. Feel free to go take a peek at it. It's going to be kind of nondescript. The candidates' names are withheld in those materials. However, the process, the itinerary is really kind of laid out there as well, and that's where you want to look.
And it's the Police and Fire Commission agenda.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Olick? Okay, we will move on to item 9, which is an engineer's report. Ms. Fisher.
Thank you for the Mark Drive. Is this on? Can you guys hear me? Okay. For the Mark Drive Phase 2 project, final plans are being completed with construction plan later this year. For Avalon Ridge, utility work is expected to resume next week. For SSM Health, the water main connection on State Highway 69 was made with testing to follow. Final paving of State Highway 69 and Valley Road is anticipated to take place April to May of this year. And finally, the city was awarded a new storm drain mural through the Madison Area Municipal Stormwater Partnership and Dane County at Country View Elementary. A local artist together with students will paint the mural in May. So with that, I can take any questions.
Thank you. Any questions on the engineer's report? Seeing no questions, we'll move on to item 10, which is committee reports. First up, we have 10A Finance Committee. Alder Homke.
Sorry, 1 second. Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm going to make a motion for payment in the bills in the amount of $595,035.10.
Motion by Alder Homke. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Weiss. Alder Homke.
Yeah, we have 3 major payments. The first is to Danton Construction for the Epic Park Shelter for $87,142. The next is to Parisi Construction for the Legion Street West Lawn Construction for $77,546. And the third is to AECom Engineering for design services for West Road for $120,344.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on the motion to pay the bills? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of paying the bills in the amount specified signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Finance?
Nothing further, Mr. Mayor.
Excellent, thank you. We will move on to 10B, which is Plan Commission. Alder Swanson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve resolution number 26-006 for a preliminary plan for a planned development to construct a 130-unit senior housing facility located west of County Highway M, south of Morningside Boulevard, and east of proposed Grassland Terrace on the Midton property with the exemptions and conditions noted in the packet.
Motion by Alder Swanson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Keller. Alder Swanson.
Thank you. The applicant proposes a 130-unit senior housing facility with exemptions to the zoning ordinance. As exemptions are requested, to plan development may depart from strict conformance with the required density, dimension, area, bulk, use, and other regulations for the standard zoning districts and other provisions of the zoning ordinance to the extent the departures will not be detrimental to or endanger the public health, safety, or general welfare. The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on February 2nd, 2026. There were no public comments. Comments from the Plan Commission included support for senior housing, suggestions to modify the handicap parking stalls in the southern parking lot to have the stalls wider. All recommended the applicant contact the city's senior services director, concerned for the patio setback being reduced to 10 feet along County Highway M, and questioning the number of underground parking stalls. One commissioner asked about security of the memory care residents abutting County Highway M, which was answered by the applicant that the building is locked down to get into and out of the building with a key card. The 2,500-foot buffer is a state statute requirement and can be granted an exemption by the Plan Commission and the Common Council, which is being requested by the applicant. The Plan Commission voted 5-0 to recommend the Common Council approve the preliminary plan for a planned development for a 130-unit independent, assisted, and memory care senior housing facility with the following exemptions to be granted for the following: memory care independent senior housing to be located in the suburban commercial zoning district, removal of the 2,500-foot buffer required in the community living, i.e. memory care, specific use standards. Building height would be increased from 45 feet to 51 feet, and patio setback from 20 feet to 10 feet, and additional conditions of approval to include that the approval shall become effective upon a final plan and the conditions of the final plan. In the intervening time since the council first considered this item, the applicant held a meeting with the senior service director and planning staff to discuss in greater detail operations and design of the facility. The applicant emailed a description of services to be provided, which has been added to the agenda packet. Staff has also prepared a memo describing the process in which the Common Council reviews plan development applications. This memo has been added before the case report in the agenda packet.
Thank you. I guess I would like to take this opportunity. Is our senior director here? I think, yes. If you're interested, would you be willing to give up and come up and give a comment on the project?
Just a general comment.
Yeah.
So
How does it make you feel?
What's that?
How does it make you feel?
How does it make me feel? I have mixed feelings, rather, about it. The question that I posed to the mayor when we met was, is the project, or any project like this, meant to service those that already live in Verona? Or is it to look at greater Dane County housing and so forth? It feels like the latter, which is fine. Both are good, but my hesitation with a project such as this is it doesn't solve a problem that we already have. So looking at lower income and sort of medium income housing. So it sounds like a great project. I had a chance to talk with the builders and express some concerns about different things, but yeah, it really doesn't help the needs that we see every day. And then the other thought is the more work for all city staff. So not only myself, but for PD and EMS and fire. Like, we all visit housing complexes such as this regularly, very regularly, even though they say, you know, we handle all of this stuff in-house. It just doesn't happen like that. Oakmont, Azura, I mean, all of us are there pretty regularly. And so making sure that if something like this does come to town, if this one specifically comes to town, great, but that you're open to adding staff in any or all departments.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Zell? Alder Humke.
Is there anything else about, the services that you provide specific to like the activities and things? Did you delve into that at all about, is that your capacity for those type of services?
So we're, with our space and this current staff that I have, we're nearing, capacity for what we can offer. So what I heard in discussions with the builder and the management company is that they're going to house everything. Their goal is to house everything, keep everybody on site. That's a great plan, but just in organizations that I've either worked with or dealt with, the latest one, Quarry Ridge, that was mentioned in a previous meeting, those members still come to all our stuff. So, that's great if you have one activity provider offering activities for folks, but they still go off campus and they still utilize other city services. So that's an increase for all city services, parks and, everything else that we offer here in Verona. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. And I think just for clarity, just like when we talk about this, what the senior center can offer, like that is sort of restricted by what we are willing to fund. Whereas fire, EMS, police, like that is subject to whatever happens. So like when we think of the budget, like that sort of, there's like sort of a choice versus not a choice in terms of how we fund the services that going forward, just thinking about the budget for needs in the future, which again, this is not this specific project, but just other things like this where there's going to be additional needs.
Other questions for Ms. L, or should we open it up to general discussion? Alder Tucker Long.
I'm wondering if you could just clarify your statement that, you said there's like a disconnect between the housing this will provide and the needs that you're seeing that we need. Mm-hmm. Could you clarify what is the biggest housing need that you're seeing?
I would say lower income to moderate income. So what I heard the last time at this project is $4,000 a month. That's probably twice as much or more than what is affordable for the people that we're working with. So folks like myself that are looking to downsize from a Verona home, this is not, at this price point, this is not what they can afford.
Great, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
Alder
I have
Humke.
one other question. Okay, when, previous to the last time we were talking about this, here in council, we had talked about, the patio, like something that came up was a patio on that's like one of the stipulations of the zoning. That there's a patio that's like very close to the street, that is gonna be used by the residents. And you had expressed concerns before about sort of that, and I'm wondering if you could elaborate at all on sort of like those concerns and your lived experience with, the population of people that we're talking about and
Yeah,
that.
so from what I saw in the project, there's a patio that's close to the highway, which is fine. I was suggesting maybe an enclosed, like a 3-season, 4-season porch for a variety of reasons. One, sometimes folks with dementia don't love loud noise, and I assume County Highway M is going to have some noise. Also, in our experience and in other organizations that I've worked with or that we work with, we get a lot of complaints. So our senior center's back patio goes to the Military Ridge Trail. It's beautiful, it's very peaceful, serene, but it's always too hot, too buggy, too sunny, too this, too windy, too that. And it's not a utilized space because of all of those things. So, we've gotten the umbrellas and try to make adaptations, but in hearing the management company talk that they want to house 100% of their stuff on site, my suggestion is make it a more utilizable space, greater ROI for your impact of having a screened-in porch or something. Plus, that would help with noise, too. I don't know if all of you like to sit out and listen to cars go by. It just doesn't sound very quality of life. I don't know. It was just a suggestion.
Awesome, thank you.
I guess then I'd open it up to, sorry. I guess I would just open it up to general discussion then. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alder Swanson.
Thank you. So I think my feelings on this are that I take very seriously a lot of what our senior services director has to say. I think that we should be acknowledging concerns about overworking our already working very hard senior services staff. I know that I said in that commission, I know they do a good job with what they're given, and I think that as we expand, the number of housing units that we have for our senior population, we need to make sure that we are, meeting that commitment with a commitment to our resources that we provide to our city staff that work with them. That being said, I think that we should also develop this project. I think that we should approve the project because, housing, I've talked about housing. I know Alder Trucker Long has talked about housing. I know that Alder Humke has talked about housing. I think everyone here has probably talked about housing at least at one point. And we're not always going to get exactly the right housing for exactly the right moment in exactly the right way, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't go for housing when someone brings a project to us that probably we can fill. And I hope that the developer will take the commentary they've received over the last couple months seriously and incorporate it into their plans. I know, based on my experience with the Plan Commission, that there will be back and forth where they're talking with us about what they're doing. But I think that based on what we've gotten back from them, I think we should approve this project.
Other questions or comments from the council? Alder Keller.
Don't want to obsess about the patio, but I'm going to say it anyway because my mother lived at Attic Angels for many years until she passed away. It's going to be really loud, and that population doesn't hear well. And so you're going to end up with people, sitting obnoxiously close to each other, trying to shout in each other's ears. So I think that's really something to consider with that. So I hope that you do take that feedback with the kindness in which it is given.
Other thoughts from the council? Alder Humke.
I actually have a question for either Lucas or Mr. Kleinmeyer about actually, Lucas, I have a question for you about the actual, the patio, because I have looked at numerous facilities recently because of my own situation with my family member, and the patio is just really bothersome to me. Because I think the developing land is really important. Housing, especially this piece of land, is in proximity to our downtown space, which I'd love it to be the best possible that we can make it. And so I just know that, again, having a space that is actually utilizable for this huge building, are we able to enclose, is that an option based on like where it's located to have it enclosed in any such a way, like the director is talking about, or what are sort of some flexibility that we have? Is there any flexibility there?
Yeah, so there's a couple different things. So as it came to the Plan Commission and as it's proposed now, it's seeking that setback variation. If it were to be enclosed, that would technically be a separate, not a variation, a separate exception. So that would, if that were to be something that the council and the applicant wish to do, that would be something that where they would most likely, not necessarily reapply, but they could, when they come in for their final plan, that could be something that gets introduced at that time and just gets noticed properly. So it is an option. As it stands now, there would be a fence enclosure, so it wouldn't be people just like wouldn't be able to necessarily walk out onto the sidewalk and onto the street. So from a safety perspective, that would be covered from, noises and, potential fumes from cars going by. That wouldn't necessarily be something that would be protected, but it is something that could be proposed, just not necessarily part of this current request, because it would technically be a separate request.
So if that was something that I was like, how would I want to vote on that? Like what would happen if that was like a stipulation I was like, am I allowed, like, I guess there's like all these requirements of like what I can and cannot vote.
Can we, I guess if I could interpret, could we add that as a condition to this motion? Would it be appropriate to do it now? Or is it something we could do in the future? Or is it something we don't really have control over?
Since Mr. Kleinmeyer is here, I would I want to use his expertise on this.
So I'm looking at page 24 of the packet, and this is the resolution, I believe. And it looks like if, we have a motion and a second right now to approve this resolution that creates a couple of, or 4 exemptions, but then there's also a condition. And if I'm understanding correctly, potentially there's a question as to whether or not we could add a condition that would effectively impact the patio. And I mean, looking at the code and looking at kind of the standard process, here we have the preliminary plan, and then when the applicant comes forward with the final plan, it has to be generally consistent with, or not materially different than the preliminary plan. So I would say now, yes, if you want to place a condition that addresses the patio, I think you want to do it now in order to protect yourself. Because if you don't have it in there, and if they bring the plans for the patio forward and they're consistent with what's been approved, you're probably going to have to negotiate with them as opposed to direct them to do something. Whereas here, and I guess if I'm hearing this correctly, it sounds to me like there might be multiple reasons why you want it enclosed. And because I've heard a couple of things, one of which I don't think you can do. In other words, I don't think that we can tell this business to enclose their patio because we think that their tenants aren't going to like the fact that it's outside. That's not, that now we're stepping into what I'd call operational, not our business. I also thought I heard some potential public safety concerns related to the patio and where it is as associated to the road. And if there is a public safety concern and that we believe would be alleviated because if it's enclosed versus not enclosed, that to me is a basis that you could utilize as part of a condition.
Very helpful.
And then I have one follow-up as well. Since Mr. Sievertson said that we would potentially have to grant a different exemption for, if I heard that right, for an enclosed area, would we have to, if we make a condition, would the exemption assumed to be granted, or would we have to put an exemption in?
That's where I would need to talk to Lou. So is it a zoning exemption to have it enclosed?
Yes.
Okay.
So what they could do is, most people, most applicants would come forward with a preliminary plan, which is more conceptual in nature by design, and then come in with a final plan with all the details. Some people choose to have those two combined and review the preliminary and final at the same time. So if that were a case, if this were to be an additional exemption, I would probably include it as part of like the final, when they come in for a final packet, it would be noticed as such with that additional exemption.
So, and I'm gonna kind of ask you a question right now, but so if from a zoning standpoint and how this is, we've gotten from point A to point B on this project, so what I'm hearing then is maybe there's some type of condition that says the final plan shall include an enclosed patio, at which time the common council would grant the necessary exemption from a zoning perspective for that enclosed patio.
That would work.
I guess, are you comfortable with that? I guess, okay.
Yep.
So, I mean, I think to me that it sounds like we have an exemption and a condition. We don't want to delay the project right now from the standpoint of saying, okay, go back to the drawing board and and we'll take this resolution up again because we need to add that exemption. We can maybe just add that as part of the condition. As long as people are okay with the idea that you are going to, if you do this, then, and as long as they come forward with a patio that's enclosed, you know, from a good faith standpoint, you definitely want to grant that exemption then too on the final plan.
Anything else, Alder Humke? Alder Swanson.
Thank you. For what it's worth, I guess I'd probably characterize myself typically as relatively happy to be kind of heavy-handed with telling someone doing a development in our town what we'd like them to do. But I'm not sure I'm that worried about this. Like, if the developer wants to waste their money building a patio that doesn't get used because it's loud and noisy and smells bad, and you know the residents don't like it, I mean that's kind of their business, and I'm not concerned about. And we have the applicant here, right? Correct. So as I understand it, and if I'm incorrect about this, please answer. But your intent is not to have the dementia care units, the memory care unit residents using that space because you have the separate memory care garden where they would be going outside, right? Yeah, so I'm not worried about the residents. I'd be most worried about using that space. I mean, maybe that's naive of me, but that's what I got. Sorry.
Mr. Kleinmeyer.
And sorry, just to be clear, because you have a motion and a second now, to the extent that you want to add that condition that's essentially going to allow for the exemption in the future, somebody would need to make a motion to amend the current motion to allow for that. And if somebody doesn't make that motion, or if it's made and it's not seconded, then you're going to be, you know, then you still have the existing motion.
Correct. Alder Humke.
Oh my God, my brain. Okay, so I'm going to push back a little bit because not everybody who has dementia is in a dementia ward, like in a dementia situation. Like a lot of people who live in assisted living also have dementia, and there's definitely grades of that, but like a lot of people live in that space. And even I would argue probably some people in independent living live with dementia, right? Because there's gradation. So like safety is a thing regardless, I think, in this space. And curious though from the applicant, does the memory garden, because that's an enclosed space, is everybody able to use that space, or is it exclusively for the people in the memory care unit?
Hi, I'm Erin.
Oh, could you come up to the microphone?
Happy to answer. Hi.
Thank you.
Hi. Happy to answer that. So everyone would be able to use it if they want. What we've found, though, is most people in memory care are going to use that space, and people aren't going to be visiting from assisted living into memory care, so they would be welcome to use it. They likely, from assisted living and independent, don't go over there and use it. We found, I agree with you, that it's loud and people are getting close to each other yelling. However, people really do like outside space and need sun and outside space, so I think it's good to have a place for residents to be outdoors. As much as we want to keep them safe, we also want to make sure we don't keep them
So,
totally
Alder
under
Humke, was
our
that your question?
That
Yeah.
was my question.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Um,
So if I can I want to make a motion for what you said.
You want me to give a shot at it?
Yeah,
Is it-
could you?
Okay.
And if nobody wants to second it, that's fine.
Motion to amend resolution number R-26-006 to add condition B2I to state the final plans shall include an enclosed patio as opposed to an outdoor patio, and at which time the Common Council would approve the exception for the enclosed patio.
And just, I'm not looking at the map right now. There's only one patio, right, on the design? So like, is there more, I mean, open patio? Because I think we want to be clear on which one.
Yeah, there's a patio space on the east side of the building, but also on the west side of the building.
Okay. Is your intention for the east?
Yeah, so there's like patio space in the, what I would call the front, like, entrance of the building. So not that, but on the
Adjacent
On the-
to Main?
highway.
Main.
On the M side. East side.
The east side patio.
Okay. So are you saying so moved to?
Sorry, so
Motion by Alder Helmke, is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Harrison. Motion to amend the main motion is on the table. Questions or comments on this motion? Alder Host.
Thank you. So when we say enclosed, you're picturing like screened in porch, or are you like what are you enclosing? Because isn't the whole property is already fenced, correct? Because I'm just trying to get clarification on what we're
Yeah, I don't know if
requiring them to do.
I don't know if 100% of the property is enclosed, but definitely the memory care on the west side, and majority of the patio on the east side.
So are we requiring a fence, or are we requiring like a screened in porch? Like I guess I don't understand what we're requiring now.
Brian, what are we allowed?
And since I've tried to help with the motion, I guess when I was stating what I was stating, I thought it was effectively going to be, like a screened-in porch. Like it's got walls. Now, these walls may be windows, they may be screens, but it is enclosed as opposed to being outdoors.
Okay, because if that's the case, I guess I'm not really in favor. Because I mean, for me, like going outside, like getting sun, you can't have a screened-in porch and still allow sun in. So like, I guess I don't know what we're. Because I'm a little confused as to what we're trying to do. If we're trying to. If
And
it's
if
for
I
public
misstated
safety,
it, I apologize. I mean,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
yeah, if it's public safety, then fencing will do that without restricting like actual sunlight. So I just want to make sure everybody's clear on what we're trying to impose on them.
Alder Keller.
So maybe I'm not understanding the height of the fence and like what kind of fencing is in the proposal for this again? Could you refresh my memory? Around the east patio that is adjacent to M.
Mr. Severson?
I think those are details, the height and the design and the exact location of the fence. That would be something that would typically be part of the final plan. So that's not information that we have right now. But I would say if there's a question of what the intent is, that's a question that the applicant might be able to answer.
Are you asking the question?
I was gonna say, so can I ask the question? Like, what is the intent of the patio and the patio fencing that is currently on the proposal?
Well, I think we know what the intent is, but maybe just how tall they want to
How
put the fence.
tall?
Yeah, if the applicant wants to answer. Sure. And obviously, it's intent, so we know we can change.
The intent, as Aaron indicated, is to provide outdoor patio space for people to get fresh air, to get sunlight, to be able to sit out there. The intention of the fencing is to contain the area and still provide some privacy of the area.
Okay, so it would be like a solid, are you mentally thinking like a solid fence? Are you thinking like open picket that's 3 feet tall that someone could leap over, or?
We're open.
Not
I
that
mean,
they probably
typically-
are gonna leap over, but you know what I'm saying.
Typically, in my experience, people want to see activity. People want to see activity going by. They want to see, I might not want to sit on the porch just to watch cars go by, but these people, that's a source of activity and entertainment, is to see what's going on.
Okay,
And so, am I saying we're going to block it, that it won't be visual? That wasn't necessarily the intent.
Okay.
But, you know, if that's a requirement, we'd need to evaluate, is that going to really serve the goals to serve the residents?
okay. But it's not gonna be like a decorative fence where there's gonna be gaps and, you know what I mean? Like it would be enclosed all the way around.
Again, it's still open. I mean, a lot of times we will have, for the memory care unit, it's fully enclosed without gaps. So those people are contained. You don't want them to see outside because of elopement risks.
Right.
That is not the case for the residents we are planning to serve here. In this portion of the building, it's for the independent and assisted living where they want to get fresh air. They want to see activity going on outside.
I'm just concerned about wander and being so close to the highway. So
So
like if
people
it's
that-
going to be a fully enclosed patio by fencing in some capacity, that makes me feel better because then I feel like no one's going to wander in or wander off. So that's what I'm asking.
Understand, those residents that are in elopement risk of walking off, those residents will be in the memory care unit, which is in a lockdown unit. You need card key access to be able to get out. That is how the memory care unit works.
Yeah, but the regular east patio that's going to be even closer to the highway than our normal standards will not necessarily be enclosed in any,
Currently, that is not the
plan.
intent.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you. We do have a motion for the body. Alder Tucker Long.
So I guess I've had a slightly different experience with my grandmother. As she aged, once she couldn't drive anymore, her favorite thing was to pull a lawn chair out towards the end of her driveway and wave at cars as they went by and talk to anybody who went by on the sidewalk. And I don't know, she liked watching people go by and the noise didn't bother her. She lived on a pretty busy street, Highway 21. So she was pretty busy and, I guess she really liked that. And she liked, like the applicant was saying, liked to see things happening and people going by. And so I also wonder too, like one of the other things my grandmother loved was having like a little plant to take care of. Maybe the outdoor patio provides opportunities for raised gardens or other things like that. But, getting outside is something that's really important. And it sounds like there'll be plenty of other places to sit inside if you don't want to be outside. So I guess I'd rather provide more outdoor space than taking away outdoor space.
Other comments? Alder Harrison, then Alder Swanson.
So it sounds like the goal of, this outdoor spaces enrichment, and the reason we are worried about it is from a safety perspective. The people who are going to have access to this area for that enrichment sounds like they're going to be in control of this. I just don't know if we're really mitigating the risk we think we're mitigating by adding an enclosure here. I feel that there, would be a risk 100% if like somebody who should be in memory care isn't and is in this other section and wanders, but if they're an elopement risk, that's a liability of the builder, not us, not really even, I don't think we're introducing unsafety by, by locking this down and saying it should be enclosed, right? Like, we also aren't trying to like cage the like assisted and independent living people. They are like in those stages because they have the freedom to still like go to the grocery store and do their thing. So I think I'm also not in favor of just adding this enclosure. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it quite serves the need we wanted to.
Alder Swanson.
Yeah, I'm going to echo those thoughts. I think that striving for a fully enclosed space here defeats the purpose and intent of the space. I think, I'm sympathetic to concerns about our citizens that as they age may be more at risk themselves of developing tendencies to elopement and to losing track of where they are. But I think that requiring a fully enclosed space here is erring on the side of too paternalistic. I think that we should. I think I'm satisfied with the idea that it will be, a regular fence as described, but a full enclosure is too far.
Mr. Kleinmeyer.
I just wanted to say that, I mean, obviously you have a motion on the table right now that's an amendment, so you're going to have to act on that. Depending on what you do with the motion, though, one of the other ways, if the motion does not pass, you also have the ability, for example, you have an exemption A4 right now, patio setback from 20 feet to 10 feet, comma, with appropriate fencing to address public safety concerns, because it seems like, listening to the conversation, the two things that I think you can focus on from a fencing standpoint is public safety and aesthetics. And if you had a 5-foot-tall black wrought iron fence that's split up so people can see in and out, but keeps people from leaving, that would seem to address aesthetics and public safety issues.
Okay, well, we will dispense with the motion first. So other questions or comments on the motion to amend the main motion? Okay, so right now we're about to vote on the motion to amend the main motion, which would be to require the patio by Main Street to require an enclosure. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, no?
No.
And that motion to amend fails with Alder Humke voting aye. So we're back to the main motion to approve the development. Questions, comments, motions to amend, or are we ready to vote? All right, seeing no further discussion. All those in favor of resolution number 26-006 for a preliminary plan for a planned development to construct a 130-unit senior housing facility located west of County Highway M, south of Morningside Boulevard, and east of the proposed Grassland Terrace on the Midtune property with the conditions and exemptions outlined in the packet, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no?
No.
And that motion passes with Alder Helmke voting no. Alder Swanson.
Thank you. Move to approve ordinance number 26-1084 for a text amendment to section 13-2-5.
Motion by Alder Swanson. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Tucker Long. Alder Swanson.
The Plan Commission held the required public hearing on March 2nd, 2026. There were no comments from the public in the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend that the Common Council approve the amendment of Title 13, Chapter 2, relating to the city's floodplain ordinance. A little more information. This is just updating our current ordinances to be in line with federal guidance. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yeah, but there's nothing remotely controversial about this. So.
Any questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of ordinance number 26-1084, a text amendment to section 13-2-5 relating to floodplain zoning, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? And that motion passes. Alder Swanson.
Thank you. Move to approve resolution number 26-010 for a certified survey map to create one lot located in the northwest corner of County Highway M and County Highway PBs, conditioned on the applicant acquiring the property and execution of a development agreement.
Motion by Alder Swanson. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Hoax. Alder Swanson.
The Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend that the Common Council approve the certified survey map to create one lot. Back me up here, Jamie.
Mr. Severson, is it just a lot, or is it an outlot, or something else?
One lot. Okay.
One lot.
To create
Okay.
one lot located on Lot 12 in the Liberty Business Park with the following conditions: that the approval shall become effective upon the applicant acquiring the property, and that the approval shall become effective upon the execution of a development agreement.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 26-010, creating a certified survey map, to create one lot located in the northwest corner of County Highway M and County Highway PB, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? And that motion passes. Alder Swanson.
Thank you. The final item for Plan Commission is discussion and possible action regarding initial review for a personal storage facility located at the southwest corner of Wayland Road and Liberty Drive in the Liberty Business Park. There is no recommended motion at this time. So I'm just going to read the blurb. The Plan Commission reviewed an initial plan for an 86,200 square foot personal storage facility containing 644 climate-controlled storage units. This type of land use requires a conditional use permit, which would be reviewed by the Plan Commission and the Common Council. Comments from the Plan Commission included concern over having only one employee for the facility when the Southeast Neighborhood Plan calls for land uses that create jobs, plural, and employment. Additional concerns include the loss of mature trees and the lack of high-quality architecture for the proposed building. As this will require a conditional use permit, staff recommends the Common Council review the submitted materials and provide feedback to the applicant regarding their proposal. Additional comment, the Plan Commission was not super receptive to this proposal. Honestly, that's an understatement. We were not at all receptive.
Feedback from the council. I'll call it myself while people are thinking their feedback. Yeah, I don't think this is worth changing the plan in the area. It definitely doesn't create any jobs, and I think there would be some other issues we would have to work with, in the sense that, like, it's supposed to have high quality building materials and things of that nature, and it definitely doesn't. And I frankly just don't think it's a good spot for it. Alder Keller.
My first thought upon reading this proposal was, we can do better. Maybe I shouldn't say that out loud, but I feel like just the whole building and the look and everything, like, it's such a highly visible location. Like, I feel like we could do something that would really contribute more to the community than this and this location.
Other feedback from the council. Alder Tucker Long.
Yeah, I agree. This is one of the major entrances into the business park, and also a really busy intersection. There's a lot of traffic going by here, and to have something that's not really open to the public or creating a bunch of jobs or something just kind of seems like the wrong application for that type of property.
Other feedback from the council. Alder Swanson.
Thank you. Something else that did come up in discussion in the Plan Commission was the sort of long-term intent for not just the area of the business park itself, but the area immediately north of the proposed development. The comprehensive plan that is currently still under review, but is coming together pretty nicely, hopefully very, very soon. We expect that there will be some residential development immediately north of that, and we anticipate that, putting storage units right next to that is not really sort of a long-term goal that we would expect developers to be super happy with. So if we want to make sure that we are achieving our other goals in nearby spaces as a city, keeping in mind the current use is something that we should be anticipating.
Any other feedback? I guess I feel like I got to ask, anyone really in favor of it? Because right now the mood seems against the storage facilities, and if that's not accurate for everyone, like now's your time to speak up on behalf of storage facilities, or if you have other feedback.
I just have a question. What is there anywhere else in Verona we could steer this individual to that would be a more suitable location?
Mr. Sievertson? Because there are storage facilities in the city proper.
Yes, there are a ton of locations that are properly zoned and are consistent with the comprehensive plan and the future land use plan. So there are other areas. I think the site probably just worked for them on a size, in terms of square foot or acres of land, and that's why they selected it.
Okay, but they're aware of these other locations that could potentially work?
Yep.
Okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Other feedback? All right. Anything further from Plan Commission?
That's all, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. With that, we'll move on to 10C, which is Public Safety and Welfare Committee. Alder Host.
Thank you. I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance number 26-1085, amending section 10-1-12 relating to speed limits on Shady Oak Lane and Valley Road.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Harrison. Alder Host.
Thank you. Given ongoing development, traffic analysis, and requests from the public, staff are recommending a reduction of speed from 55 miles per hour to 35 miles per hour on certain sections of Shady Oak Lane and Valley Road.
Thank you. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, All those in favor of ordinance number 26-1085, amending section 10-1-12 relating to speed limits on Shady Oak Lane and Valley Road, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Host.
Thank you. Next, I'd like to make a motion to approve resolution number 25-011, approving Old County Highway PB to be renamed to Electric Court.
Motion by Alder Host. Is there a second? Seconded by Alder Tucker Long. Alder Host.
Thank you. The city is requesting approval to rename Old County Highway PB to Electric Court. This roadway currently serves the Alliant Energy Substation and the vacant lot to the east. A site plan was recently approved by the Planning Commission, and a certified survey map is in the process of being reviewed. As part of the Aldi development, the currently named Old County PB will be urbanized cul-de-sac, with Aldi dedicating land towards a cul-de-sac bulb. Access will continue for the substation and for the approved Aldi from this roadway. Since there are two roadways named Old County PB, Dane County and the city are requesting this roadway to be renamed. As a rule of thumb, roadways are not named for existing businesses and people who are still alive. Therefore, the city is proposing to rename the roadway to Electric Court, which does not exist. And yes, I asked about Electric Avenue, which would be much more fun. Now we can all sing it together. No, we tried, but it's Electric Court.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of resolution number 25-011, approving Old County Highway PB to be renamed Electric Court, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Public Safety?
Nothing further. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. We'll move on to 10D, which is Public Works, Sewer, and Water Committee. Alder Tucker Long.
Thank you. I move to approve elevated tank with booster station site study and preliminary design agreement with Strand for a cost not to exceed $54,800.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Alder Keller. Alder Tucker Long.
Thank you. Due to continued growth in Verona's southeast pressure zone, a new elevated water tank is necessary to provide reliable water service and fire protection in this area. The new tank and booster station will serve a dual purpose to provide service to the east pressure zone. This agreement will review existing documentation, evaluate the anticipated growth, prepare a probable construction cost and preliminary construction schedule, and prepare/submit the final siting study to the Wisconsin Department of Natural Resources.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the elevated tank with booster station site study and preliminary design agreement, including the not to exceed amount, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Alder Tucker Long.
The next two items, the two policies, are going back to staff, and they will be coming back at a future meeting.
Okay.
And that moves us up to Dane County Highway. I move to approve the agreement with Dane County Highway and Transportation Department to coordinate performing the required 2026-2027 inspections for bridges with a span length greater than 20 feet. And I do have a quick question because when we did this motion, there was a dollar amount in Public Works. Do we need the dollar amount in this motion? Yes, okay. Let me grab that number because I don't want to get it wrong. Okay. Is it 125? Oh, I was looking in the Public Works packet. Okay. So this will be for an estimated sum of $4,600 with a dollar amount not to exceed $6,000.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Weiss. Alder Tucker Long.
As in previous years, the Dane County Highway Transportation and Transportation Department will arrange a cooperative contract with a consultant through a request for proposal process to inspect bridges with a span length greater than 20 feet as per WISDOT and federal requirements. The city has previously participated in this bridge inspection agreement with Dane County, and staff recommend continuing this coordinated effort. The reason for the $2 amounts in the motion is because Dane County has only given us an estimated sum, and we want to allow staff to continue forward if it's just slightly higher than what their estimated amount was.
Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the agreement with Dane County Highway and Transportation Department to coordinate performing the required 2026 to 2027 inspections for bridges with span length greater than 20 feet, including the not to exceed amount, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. Anything further from Public Works?
Nothing further.
Excellent, thank you. With that, we move on to item 11, which is new business. First up, we have 11A, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the pre-development review agreement between the City of Verona and Aldi Inc., Wisconsin. Mr. Aulick.
Thank you, Mayor. Aldi Inc., Wisconsin is contemplating development of property located in the city of Verona. The process of reviewing the anticipated plans and documents associated with the development will cause the city to incur significant direct and indirect expenses, including but not limited to staff time, fees and expenses incurred by the city for outside consultant services related to the review. In other words, engineers, attorneys, accountants, planners, and other professionals. The city recovers the fees at cost. City staff recommend approval of the agreement.
Thank you for that explanation. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Alder Swanson.
I'll move to approve the pre-development review agreement between the City of Verona and Aldi Inc., Wisconsin.
Motion by Alder Swanson. Is there a second? Second by Alder Tucker Long. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the pre-development review agreement between the City of Verona and Aldi Inc., Wisconsin, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. We'll move on to 11B, which is a discussion and possible action regarding the quitclaim deed at Old County Highway PB right-of-way. Mr. Aulick.
Thank you, Mayor. Dane County and city staff have been in discussions related to right-of-way of the former route of County Highway PB. In connection with the Aldi Inc. Wisconsin development and the need to establish a cul-de-sac to serve the site, Dane County has agreed to divide the north and south portions of the right-of-way. At this time, the county would convey the north portion, also known as Parcel A on the map, to the city while discussions continue in the south portion with the 5 abutting property owners. And again, Mr. Mayor, this came out of Public Works Committee as Parcel A specific. So,
Thank you. Questions, comments, or motions on this item? Alder Tucker Long.
I move to approve the quitclaim deed with Old County Highway PB right-of-way, Parcel A.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Harrison. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the quitclaim deed at Old County Highway PB right-of-way signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. And that motion passes. With that, we move on to 11C, which is the discussion and possible action regarding the amendment to Avalon Ridge Development Agreement. Mr. Aulick.
thank you, Mr. Mayor. The proposed amendment modifies Article 1, Section B.16, traffic signals of the Avalon Ridge Development Agreement. The amendment changes the responsibility for construction, cost allocation, and payment timing related to the traffic signal improvements at the intersection of Morningside Boulevard and County Highway M. Key changes include construction of traffic signals. Originally, the agreement required the developer to construct the traffic signals and associated improvements at Morningside Boulevard and County Highway M. For clarity on accounting for and parceling out the costs of the improvement, the amendment proposes that the city will construct the traffic signals and associated improvements subject to approval by the Dane County Highway Department. Timing of traffic signal payment. Originally, the developer would pay for the traffic signals during construction, with reconciliation occurring through the transportation improvement payment. The amendment proposes that the city will construct the signals and the developer will reimburse the city for 27.8% of the project costs within 30 days after the city notifies the developer the work is complete. Remaining costs are allocated among other benefiting parcels of the traffic signals. The transportation improvement payment. The amendment proposes that the developer must pay $575,548 within 12 months of issuance of a building permit. Occupancy permits. Originally, the agreement tied signal construction to the development process. This amendment proposes to clarify that occupancy permits may be issued before the signals are constructed, but no occupancy permit may be issued until the $575,548 payment has been made to the city.
I got a question. So is this going to result in the developer paying more or less or the same amount as they would have under the previous agreement?
Brian,
Mr. Kleinmeyer?
The same.
The same.
And so I think staff definitely supports this. And when we annexed the land for that Cascade's going to be developing here, we essentially had an either-or circumstance related to who was going to be building the traffic signals. Initially, in the first agreement with Cascade, the development agreement, they took it on. Now, and we utilized language from the annexation agreement for that, have that to happen. The language that is in this amendment is pulled from the annexation agreement because it addresses the alternative where a party other than Cascade builds it, and it's going to be the city. The city isn't out anymore. No matter what, depending on process we use, we're in the same position. In other words, this developer is going to take 27.8% of the costs. We already have an agreement that relates to that fiduciary property that was on the Draeger property. Once the traffic signals are completed, there's a certain percentage that we're going to be able to get from them. And as Jamie noted, with us doing the work, it's a lot cleaner because for a developer to do it, this was going to be among all of the other improvements that they were going to do. Here, we're just doing these improvements. And then we're also going to seek to collect money from the North Neighborhood and from the Midtune properties. In our last development agreement with them, we noted, they agreed that they're going to have to pay certain costs. And if and when the Endress property ever annexes to the city upon annexation, we would recover from them. So at the end of the day, property owners are going to cover all these costs. It's just a timing issue as to when we're going to get paid. But we know from two developers that we're going to get paid essentially right away. And then we have another agreement already with North Neighborhood and with Midtune that says, effectively, the next agreement that comes before you that relates to the North Neighborhood plat, I think that's the correct name of the plat, right? Those payments will have to be made to us as part of the process.
Okay. I just wanted to be assured that the city, by which I mean the public, wouldn't be paying extra.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Alder Humke.
I'm just curious, does this mean, like, is Public Works managing that like Mr. Manning is managing that process then is that how it works? That it speeds up how the timing of when that is able to?
It doesn't necessarily
Okay.
speed up the timing, but it makes all the accounting a whole lot cleaner. Developers aren't asking other developers for costs that are mixed in with their projects, et cetera. And quite frankly, they're pretty well versed. They just did Legion Street for the intersection. It will be more work taking on that they take on, but we know it's going to be done well, right, and we'll have it proper accounting for it.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing too is, I agree with Jamie that there's a little bit more work, but they were also going to have to be in the position of reviewing everything.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that this would occur in this instance, but sometimes reviewing plans actually takes a longer period of time than actually preparing the plans.
Other thoughts or motions from the council? Alder Lytle.
Just to make sure I understand this, and I probably don't, we're referencing traffic signal construction installation. We're referencing a 27.8% allocation to that portion of the intersection that corresponds with Apex.
Correct. So, yep, I'm
Or
sorry.
was it Avalon?
It's for
Avalon, sorry, Avalon, yeah.
Avalon.
Too many A names.
Yep. And clear that I'm assuming some similar fraction will be paid by the Draeger property that you referenced?
Yeah, I want to say, so the DPW department did a cost allocation related to this project, and so we have a spreadsheet. And so, yeah, I mean, the percentages are different depending on, you know, how much traffic you're essentially adding to the intersection, causing the need for the signals. I want to say that the Apex/Draeger property, I think they're paying like 9.8% of the total costs. And then as it relates to the North Neighborhood property, the Midtune property, and the Enders property, we have allocations of percentages to go to them also. But when you take the 5 separate properties, it does come to 100%. So like I said, the city's not going to have to pay for this. It's just a question of when it's going to be able to collect from the other parties. But we were going to be in that position even if Avalon or /Cascade had done it. They were not going to be the bank. The city was always going to be the bank, effectively.
So 27.8% of the total corresponds to that $575,000
No,
number?
that's actually related to a project that's already been completed. So if you recall, there was a lot of work that was done by the city for County Highway M, County Highway PP, and the intersection. That 575, I believe, is related to the cost that they owe for those projects, not this project.
That's helpful. I can't claim to have a good handle on what traffic signals cost, but imagining this as a over $2 million traffic signal only was kind of blowing my mind. So thank you.
Other thoughts or motions? Alder Tucker Long.
I move to approve the amendment to the Avalon Ridge Development Agreement.
Motion by Alder Tucker Long. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alder Weiss. Motion before the body. Questions or comments on this motion? Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of approving the amendment to the Avalon Ridge Development Agreement signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? And that motion passes. We'll,
That I need to make to an announcement, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry.
Mr. Alec, one
Thank
quick-
you. Just before we adjourn, I just want to, I misspoke earlier about in-person absentee voting. You can request your absentee ballot right now, and it'll get mailed to you, but you can't come into City Hall and in-person absentee vote until March 24th, which is a little over 2 weeks today. So I just wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I apologize. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, we'll move on to item 12, which is adjournment.
So moved.
Motion by Alder Hoax. Is there a second?
Second?
Second by Alder Humke. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? And we are adjourned at 8:06 p.m. Thank you, everyone.